Hi, welcome to my video on solving and graphing linear inequalities, single variable. This is practice number 1B. Solve each for x. X minus 1 is greater than negative 6, so we leave the x on the right greater than negative 6 and move the minus 2 over to become a plus 2 by transposition. So x is greater than 4. Negative 4. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. B, we have no addition to subtraction, but we have a multiplication, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing, so we divide each side by negative 3. So they cancel, I get x, and because I'm dividing by a negative, the less than changes to a greater than equal to, and 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. C, have to do the order of operations first, so we can divide by negative 2 or we can multiply by negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is a plus 6, greater than equal to negative 4. Negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Plus 6 becomes minus 6. Transposing it over to the right side, so negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 10, and we divide by negative 2 and they cancel, so x is, because we're dividing by a negative, greater than becomes less than equal to, negative divided by negative positive, so we get 10 divided by 2 is 5. D, we have a double negative, so we're subtracting negative 1, so let's make a double negative a positive. Now we got 4x, and this minus 4x goes to the left side to become a plus x, less than, and that's 11, plus 1 becomes a minus 1, so 4 plus 1 is 5, that's understood to be a 1 there, so 5x is less than 10. And we divide by 5 on each side, they cancel, so x is less than 2. Just a review of solving inequalities, same as we're solving linear equations, except when you divide, in the last step, dividing by a negative will change the less than to a greater than or greater than to a less than. E, now we have do the order of operations, so we got a negative 9, and that's a subtraction, but we could really put a 1 here and treat it as a negative 1 times this bracket, so it's a plus 4x minus 3 less than 2 times x plus 2 is 2x plus 2. 3 times x minus 2 is plus 3x minus 6 minus 9. Since we have left and right side, let's simplify each side first to make it simpler. So negative 9x, 4x is negative 5 minus 3. Add up the x's, we get 2 plus 3 is 5x. And we get negative 15 and 2 is negative 13. Now we'll transpose to x's to the left and numbers to the right. So negative 5x, bring this x over to make it negative 5, less than. Negative 13, bring this over, negative 3 to the right, make it a plus 3. Oh, that's an x there. So negative 5x, subtract 5x is negative 10x, less than negative 10. Negative 13 plus 3 is negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 10. They cancel. And they cancel. Because I'm dividing by a negative, this has to become a greater than. So again, with inequalities, when you divide or multiply an inequality by a negative, remember you change its direction. Less than becomes a greater than. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is 1. Number 2, solve each for x. Now, this is when I did the unit. I did the unit with fractions in the equations, or in the inequalities in the equations. So I'm going to do it by the normal method. And the normal method is bring the x's to the left and numbers to the right, etc., etc. So 2/3 x subtract 1/4 x less than negative 1/5/6 plus 1. And now we need to add these, so we need a common denominator. A common denominator for 3 and 4 is 12. So 12 here, we go 4 and 4. So that's 8/12x subtract. And I got a 3/3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12x. And I'm adding these, but it's easy to see that that's a plus and that's a minus, so this is going to give me negative 5/6 minus 1. We could go, if you wish, we could go negative 1 and 5/6 is 1 times 6 plus 5 is a negative 11/6 plus 1. That's a negative 11/6 plus 6/6. So that becomes negative 5. It's another way to do it, but just quick to do it this way. Because we have common denominators, 8 minus 3 is 5. So that's 5/12x less than negative. Let's make that a 5. We're going to do another negative again, but I better be careful. Now, I have two choices here. I can divide by 5/12 on each side, like this. So they cancel it to give me x. But because I divided, so that's negative 5/6. Dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 12/5. So x is less than. And I never divide it by a negative number, so I don't. The less than stays a less than. 5's cancel. 1 says negative 1. 6 once, 6 twice. So that's a negative 2/1 or negative 2. Another way to do that would be this. This is 5/12 multiplied by 12/5, which is the reciprocal. So we could do this right away. Again, this is 5/12. So to make this a 1, I multiply by the reciprocal of 12/5. They cancel. That gives me an x. And this all cancels, same as I did here, to give me the negative 2. It's just another way to do it. So that's the normal way, where you group the x's and group the numbers and work it out. So 2b is fractions, but I have a little bit added. I have a number outside of the bracket, so we'll eliminate the numbers first. So 6 times negative 1/5 is 6 times 1 is negative 6/5x. 6 times 1/3, 3 and the 6 goes 2. So 6/3 is 2, greater than or equal to. A half times negative 3 is a positive 3/2. Remember, the 3 is understood to be 3/1. So 1 times 3, 2 times 1, x. And a negative times a positive is a negative. And a half times 5 is 5/2. And I said we want to do it by the LCD method, but I eliminated the constant in the front first by FOIL. By distributive property. 6 is multiplied by the two of these terms, and negative a half is multiplied by these. Now, I said I was going to do it by the LCD method. So the LCD method means that the LCD for 5 and 2 fractions, the denominators are 2 and 5, so the LCD is a 10. So that means I'm going to multiply each term by 10. What I'm doing is multiplying each side by 10, but the better way to do it is to multiply each part of the equation by 10. It's easier to see the cancellation. So there it is. All set up. Now because I have the LCD as 10, that means every denominator should cancel. 5 into 10 goes 2, so that's a negative 12x. 2 times 10 is 20, greater than or equal to. 2 into 10 goes 5, so 5 times 3 is 15. 2 into 10 goes 5, so that's negative 25. Now I group the x's, so negative 12x plus 15 becomes negative 15 when you move it to the left. And I have a negative 25. Positive 20 becomes a minus 20. Add negative 27x greater than or equal to negative 45. And I divide by negative 27 on each side. Cancels 1x. Because I divided by a negative, this becomes less than equal to. So negative divided by negative is positive. So let's reduce 45 over 27. So I see a 3. 3 into 45 is 15. 3 into 27 is 9. I see another 3. 3 into 15 goes 5. 3 into 9 goes 3. So that's 5 over, or we could have less than or equal to 3 into 5 goes once, so it's 1 2/3. So you could have 5 over 3 or 1 2/3. X is less than 1 2/3. Now we have number 3. We're solving. Again, this is a section, and here I have decimals this time. So the normal way is to group the x's and group the y's on left and right side and solve for x. So negative 1.4x minus 2.1x less than or equal to 5.15 minus 6.2. Now we simplify, we add, and we adding these decimals, they're lined up, so that's a negative 3.5. So when you're taking 1.4 and you're adding on, or these are two negatives, so you add them up, the decimals are lined up, so you get a 3.5. Less than equal to, and here now we got a 5.15 subtract 6.2. So let's go with 6.2, which is more. This is the bigger number. When I say it's the bigger number, is that it has more negatives there. So put a 0 here. So we can't subtract 5, so make that a 1. So that's a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. And we get a 1. So we get a negative 1.05. Again, you can use your calculator if you want. And we divide by negative 3.5. Divide by negative 3.5. That cancels and we get x. Because we divided by a negative, this becomes greater than, equal to. So now we got they're both negative, so this is going to become a plus. So we got 3.5 divided into 1.05. So we move it one place here, we move it one place here. So there it is there, moved up. So this is 35, 3 into 1 can't go 3 to 10, about 3 times. So let's try 3. 3 5s are 15, but then the 5 carrier 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. So it's a 0.3. X is greater than or equal to 0.3. So that's the normal method, where we group the x's on the left and numbers on the right, etc. But also, there's another way to solve, and it's by the product of the powers of 10. So what I mean by powers of 10 is 10 to the 1, which is 10, or 10 squared is 100, or 10 to the 3 is 1,000, etc. So when we do that, we see one decimal place. So if I multiply this by 10, it gives me a 2. Right here I got 2 decimal places, so I need to multiply by 100 to get a whole number. And here I need to multiply by 100 to get a whole number. So I have to multiply by 100 so that there's no decimals. So decimal 2 times 100 is 20. The decimal moves 2 places to the right, 1 and 1 more. 4 times 100 is 400. So that's a negative 400, greater than. And we multiply by 100 here, so the decimal moves 2 places. So 1, 2, so we get negative 14x. And we multiply by 100 here, moves 2 places, 1, 2, so we get a negative 1084. So now because we multiply by 100, we have no decimals in our equation, which makes it, again, as I say, could be easier to do, but you could do it by moving the x's to the left and numbers to the right and dividing. Let's continue. X's to the left, numbers to the right. So the negative 14 becomes positive 14, the negative 400 becomes positive 400. So that gives us 34x is greater than, and 400 from that, negative 684. You can look at your calculator, try your calculator, just take 400 from 10 to 6, so 684. Now we're dividing by 34. Cancels, we get an x, and as we don't change it because it's a positive, we're dividing by positive 34. So that's a negative, and 34 into 34 into what's it? Oh, positive. Okay, 34 into 684. Let's see. We have 34 into that is 2, so that's 68. Bring down your 4. 34 into that can't go, so it's a 0. So it's a 20 and 4 over 34. So that's negative 20, and 2 is a common factor, so 2 and the 4 goes 2, 17. So negative x is greater than a negative 20 and 2 over 17. Okay, so sometimes they don't have to work it to be integers, you can work it to be fractions. Now number 4, solve and graph on the number line. Check one value of x. And we're graphing over the real numbers, which means we're shading in when we get the answer. So x is to the left, 8 becomes negative 8, x less than or equal to 63 minus 15. Negative 8, negative 10 is negative 18x less than or equal to. And 63 subtract 15 is, when we subtract that, we get, let's see, what did we get here? 63 and 15 is, that's an 8, and that's a 48. So 48 plus 15, just check. Yep. 5 and 8 or 13 carry 1, 5, 6. Perfect. And now we divide by negative 18. Negative 18. Set cancels. And we divide by negative, so it becomes greater than equal to. And we have a negative number. So we have 48 over 18. I see them even, so let's go divide by 2. And I see a 3, so 9 divided by 3 is 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I get a negative 8 over 3. So x is greater than or equal to negative 3 and 8 goes 2. So it's negative 2 and 2/3. So negative 8 over 3 or negative 2 and 2/3 is the answers. Now we have to graph that on a number line. So negative 2 and 2/3. There's a negative 2 here. There's a negative 3. So that means it's divided into 3 parts. So let's do one part there. So this is the negative 2. That's 1/3, 2/3, and a whole. So negative 2 and 2/3 is right here. Because that's an equal to, this point right here is solid. And we're going greater than because it's real numbers, we shade it in. So there it is. All the numbers to the right of negative 2 2/3. And we want to check one of the answers. So when we check, we have negative 10x plus 15 is less than 8x plus 63. So when I check, I'm going to check to a number that's on the right here. The best number to check over here, in math, the number that I like to check with is always the 0, because you got less work to do, so I'm going to check when x is equal to 0. See if 0 checks. So we put a 0 in the place of x. Remember, you could put any number to the right. So I'm doing a 0. You could have negative 2, negative 1, 0. You could have any integer, you could have fractions, but I find the best number to use is 0, because the negative 10 times 0 is 0. So that gives me 15. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 63. So 15 is less than 63. It's correct. So 0 is okay. So let's assume that this answer is okay. So that's checking it out. And that brings us to the end of this review on inequalities, solving and graphing inequalities. And again, my wording here has changed now because my website, I don't need it anymore. That's on Wix. If you like my video, click on the like or subscribe buttons. And I'd like to thank you for viewing my video and hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.